Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip were the royal power couple that ruled the world's imagination for over 7 decades. You'd see them at ceremonies, waving, smiling, walking side by side, and you'd think, wow, perfect royal love story. But hang on a second, because beneath that shiny crown and all those parades was a real, raw relationship full of love, drama, arguments, secrets, and eventually physical distance. Yep, in their final years, Prince Philip lived apart from the Queen. And the reason? Well, it's not as fairy tale as you might think. Back in 1934, the future Queen and the future Duke of Edinburgh met at a royal wedding. Philip was just 13, Elizabeth even younger. Nothing happened then, but 5 years later, when Elizabeth was 13 and Philip was 18, she visited him at the Royal Naval College in Dartmouth. He was tall, handsome, athletic, and full of charisma. He even jumped over tennis nets to impress her. From that moment, she was drawn to him. They kept in touch through letters while he served in the Navy, and even though he came from Greek and Danish royalty, many in the British court didn't think he was fit for a future queen. Why? No stable country, no massive fortune, no English aristocratic blood. Basically, the snobs weren't impressed, but Elizabeth didn't care. She was like, I love him, full stop. In 1946, Philip proposed. She said yes, and though they kept it secret for a while, their engagement was eventually announced after her 21st birthday. On November 20, 1947, they got married at Westminster Abbey. It was the first royal wedding to be broadcast on TV, lifting the spirits of a Britain still recovering from World War II. Philip gave up his foreign titles and became the Duke of Edinburgh, taking on the very British name Mountbatten. Talk about commitment. In the early years of their marriage, things were actually kind of normal. They lived in Malta from 1949 to 1951, while Philip served in the Royal Navy. They went to parties, danced, had dinners, and just enjoyed being a couple, away from the weight of royal duties. But of course, it couldn't last. Everything changed in 1952, when Elizabeth's father, King George VI, died. She became queen at 25, and Philip, he had to adjust to being the consort, which basically means supportive husband with no real power. And that's where things got complicated. Philip was used to giving orders in the Navy. Now he was walking behind his wife at public events, smiling politely and trying not to step on royal protocol. He had no official role, no authority, and no guidebook on how to be the Queen's husband. And let's just say he didn't love it. Publicly, they were united, always together, always poised, but behind palace doors, different story. Philip was loud, blunt, sarcastic. Elizabeth was calm, quiet, formal. They were opposites in many ways, and sometimes those opposites clashed. Still, they respected each other. Elizabeth appreciated that Philip told it like it was. He wasn't fake, he didn't flatter. He challenged her, and she liked that. Their love was deep, but their relationship wasn't easy. Their son Charles has talked about growing up in that household. He remembers his father being strict and intimidating, but also funny and deeply loyal. Philip had this big laugh that filled the halls, while Elizabeth brought this serene, steady presence. Charles knew they were very different, but he also saw how they worked together through it all. Princess Anne, their only daughter, also noticed Philip's restlessness. He hated being idle. He craved action. Sitting through boring ceremonies or standing silently at events was not his vibe. She said he had this burning energy that royal life often stifled, and honestly, you could feel it. So where does this all lead? Well, buckle up. In the 1950s, there were wild rumors that Prince Philip had an affair with a famous Russian ballerina named Galina Ulanova. She was elegant, stunning, and adored in the Soviet Union. The press caught wind of it, and the scandal exploded, at least behind closed doors. There's no actual proof, but whispers flew around Buckingham Palace like pigeons after a gunshot. Some say the British government covered it up, because let's be real, a British royal messing around with a Soviet celebrity during the Cold War? Not the best look. Sources said the Queen was hurt, but she didn't say a word. Classic Elizabeth. Duty first, feelings later. Prince Andrew, the Queen's second son, has always defended his father. According to him, Philip was loyal, honest, and would never do anything to shame the family. But the rumors never really went away. and they left a dent in the marriage, no matter how much everyone pretended otherwise. Yet through every rumor, argument, or rough patch, Elizabeth and Philip stuck it out. Their marriage was a mix of love, respect, and a whole lot of biting their tongues. But by the time Philip reached his 90s, something shifted again. In 2017, Philip officially retired from public life. He moved to a quieter spot, Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate, while the Queen stayed at Buckingham Palace. Later she moved to Windsor Castle. They didn't split up, but they did start living separately. Why? Because after 70+ years of showing up for every royal duty, Philip wanted peace. No more ceremonies, no more flashing cameras, just time to be himself away from the crown. And the Queen? She understood. She respected it. Maybe she even needed space too. It wasn't a breakup. It was more like a peaceful truce between two people who'd lived their entire lives in service. Their kids, especially Charles and Anne, said they saw the move coming. They understood that after decades of sacrifice, their parents finally chose a little freedom. Together, they traveled the world, met leaders, waved at millions, and basically kept the royal brand alive. From India to Australia, America to Antigua, they were everywhere with crowns on and smiles ready. And when royal life was super serious, they always had each other to laugh with and roll their eyes at royal drama. Philip died on April 9, 2021, but don't worry, these two lovebirds are now reunited forever. When the Queen passed, she was buried beside him at Windsor Castle. From a teenage crush to 74 years of I do, theirs was a royal love story that truly lasted a lifetime. After Prince Philip passed away, Queen Elizabeth II was never quite the same. Her health started to dip, and people definitely noticed. She began cancelling big events like the super important COP26 climate conference and a trip to Northern Ireland, not like her at all. She started using a walking cane in public, which was a big sign that her royal strut wasn't what it used to be. Then in October 2021, she had a little hospital stay for preliminary investigations. To make things worse, in February 2022, she caught COVID-19. Thankfully, it was a mild case. She said it felt like a cold. Still, it added to everyone's worry about her health. Even with all these challenges, Her Majesty kept calm and carried on like a true queen. She accepted Boris Johnson's resignation as Prime Minister and welcomed Liz Truss as the new one. Even if her crown felt a little heavier, she kept doing her duty till the very end. Losing Prince Philip broke her heart, and honestly, the world could see it. So here's the real tea. Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip didn't have a perfect marriage. They had a real one. One with disagreements, secrets, laughter, sadness, and a whole lot of sacrifice. And while the world focused on their crowns, they focused on staying strong for each other and for the country. In their final years, they lived apart, not because they stopped loving each other, but because they finally put themselves first. And honestly, that's kind of beautiful. It shows that even the Queen and her consort weren't immune to the push and pull of real life. So, next time you see a royal photo with these stiff smiles and perfect outfits, remember, behind every tiara is a story. Behind every crown is a couple just trying to figure it all out. Elizabeth and Philip did just that for 73 years. And in the end, even distance couldn't break what they built. Let us know in the comments, smash that like button, and make sure to subscribe so you never miss any videos. See you in the next video.